Welcome to Freshly Forever, a podcast that gives you fascinating insights week after week. Here's your host, Vi Kumar.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode on podcast Freshly Forever. Today we are here with Mitch Sawar-Hill. She's a certified professional coach, international TEDx speaker, published author, and corporate trainer with over 25 years of experience. Most often, people keep wondering, how could a mentor possibly help me in my professional journey or even in my journey as a young adult, say a student and such, right? So this episode precisely answers that question and in fact helps you discover the transformative impact of mentorship through personal anecdotes and real-world examples. So let's get down to how our guest addresses this for us. What about mentors? I really heard you say, I think you leaned on someone, your restaurant manager seemed to have really guided you and showed you the way. So why don't we talk about how significant that could be in someone, okay, be it a man, woman, student, whomever that may be.
Yeah.
Even being able to realize that, okay, this is my opportunity or this is what I can go after.
Yes. I love this question because it hits on two of my biggest passions. And one of them is mentoring young people. One of my endeavors is to mentor foster children that are aging out of the foster care system because they have no parents. They grow up sometimes in group homes, sometimes, switching, and there's nobody there to guide them, to mentor them. So I love to mentor young people that are about to hit adulthood, about to go out there and do their thing, right? But you mentioned mentors in the work world. And that's, one of the biggest resources. When I say to people, lean on your resources, the first thing they think is money. Well, I don't have any money. I'm like, well, money is just one of many resources, right? There's your contacts, your skills, the things that you've learned along the way. Those are all resources. But as far as mentors, I think that's one of the biggest sources of success. And people don't lean on them enough. So, when I first became a director of business development in the construction industry in Florida, I was still learning my way around. I knew sales, I knew business development, but I didn't know a lot about construction. So I found people in the construction world through National Association of Women in Construction, a lot of really high-powered women that were in the construction industry for years. And I leaned on them. I said, can I take you out for a cup of coffee and pick your brain? Can I buy you lunch and ask you some questions, right? It's the easiest thing just to say, may I ask you some questions? May I, when you ask somebody, can you be my mentor? Sometimes that feels like a heavy question. I would say more like, can I take you out for coffee and ask you some questions, mentoring type questions. But I've had many, many mentors throughout my career and throughout my life. And they've been helpful because I've been willing to say, can we talk? Can I ask you some questions? And I've been willing to learn from them. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. If I can learn from somebody, people say you don't learn from other people's mistakes. Bull. I think you do learn from other people's mistakes.
Oh, we always do. We always do. I mean, from our own mistakes and from whatever else we see in front of our eyes, right? And I think you clearly pointed out earlier, it's almost like, when it comes to opportunity, clearly your case is an example of, okay, when one door shuts, another opens, right? So it's just a matter of us trying to identify what those avenues are. And the mentors, as I hear you say, they are like great avenues make it as normal as, hey, I want to have a chit chat, like a conversation, just like you and I are having here on this podcast.
Sure.
Just ask some questions. And even, as we are talking, as much as you are educating the listeners, I'm learning from you here. So how important is it for someone to trust this resource, Mitch? And how does that happen?
Well, you have to, I believe, try many different things and see what works for you. You might have one mentor tell you to do something one way, and that's their way of doing it. And you try it and it doesn't really work for you. But, it was a good trial, right? And there's many different ways to lean on that type of resource. You can hire a coach. When my business saw the pandemic hit, the first thing I did was hire a coach. And a lot of people said, are you sure? Do you want to spend that money? Is that the right place to put your money right now when your business is, you're not even making money? But I'm a coach. So of course I believe in coaching, and it was the best thing I did. My coach really helped me. In a year when other businesses were shutting down, I grew my business. So a formal relationship like a coach can be fantastic, or just a more informal relationship with a mentor. And sometimes it takes you finding an organization. If you're, for example, in construction, maybe you join the National Association of Women in Construction, and then you become active, and then you meet the other women and you learn from watching them or from doing networking events. For every business, there's some sort of a professional organization. So I'm very big on joining organizations and becoming very active in them. Join a committee, serve. If you serve the organization will serve you. So I coach my business developers to be very active in their professional organizations, and my entrepreneurs. I'm a speaker, so I'm part of the National Speakers Association. I've learned so much from other speakers, from listening to their talks or just watching them or following them on Facebook and LinkedIn and see how do they do what they do, right? So there's different ways to lean on a mentorship. And sometimes it doesn't have to be that formal of like you're my mentor. We're going to meet once or twice a month for coffee. Like sometimes it's just shooting them an email and saying, hey, I'm running into this. What do you advise? They may answer, they may not, sometimes just following them on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot, and I learn a lot from interacting and commenting and joining conversations on LinkedIn. The resources really are unlimited. I had one person say, what if I don't have resources? I don't feel like I have any resources. And I said, dig deeper. They're there. Yes. They are there. Yes. But sometimes I'll tell you, as a coach, the two areas I probably spend the most time in, you would think it's the planning part, like creating the plan and actualizing the plan. It's not. It's clarifying the vision and then getting them to actually see the resources that they have so that they can lean on them. We spend a lot of time on that.
So it's like you're saying, one can be, or we all can be stronger together, right?
Yes.
So how is it that, we make this relationship, say, between mentor and mentees work, or like organizations? Is there like any other recipe that you have, so to speak, for all of us to be like stronger together?
The recipe is it's very simple. It's like going out and planting a garden. The care that you put into that garden is what's going to yield the result, the lush plants and the flowers growing. So with any mentorship relationship, or just with you trying to lean on other people to help you, whether it's men, women, it boils down to you being willing first to serve. You saying, how can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I serve you? Not always being on the taking side. And for somebody who says, well, I don't want to bother that person by asking them to be a mentor, I invite you to think about you being in the position where somebody asks you to mentor them. You would probably love to do it. So if you think about it, I'll pay it forward later. I will mentor somebody when it's my time. Then maybe it'll make you feel a little bit better about reaching out to ask for some mentorship. As long as you know in your mind, hey, this person will help me, and then I'm going to pay it forward later. Does that make sense?
Oh, well said. Actually, I was going to say, even your own example from this conversation itself, like your manager at that restaurant helped you grow and then transition somewhere else by pointing you out to some leadership opportunities. And then you said you started developing people there. And they all felt so good when they realized, okay, this is what I can achieve being my own, being a leader in my own whatever segment or whatever area that they have been assigned with, right? So that's just, very important, I feel, and that's interesting. As far as the actualizing a plan, Mitch, how important is it for someone to be strategic and purposeful?
Oh, it's key. You can have all the vision and all the opportunities and all the resources in the world that if you can't execute a plan, you still might not get there, right? So there's a lot of coaching and there's a lot of, speakers who speak about goals, and then there's SMART goals, and then there's how to make a goal. And it can become really complicated sometimes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. My mind works really well on simplicity. And I feel like the more complicated things get, the harder it is to execute anything. So I coach my clients in the direction of what I call the KISS rule. Well, I didn't come up with it. That's an old rule, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Like, keep it simple, stupid. So we focus on, first off, what is the main thing? What is the main, most important thing that is going to get you to the next step? And then maybe we come up with three things in 3 months, for example. Well, what are the 3 things in 3 months that you're going to accomplish that are going to get you to that next step? Well, now if you're focusing on 1, 2, 3 things and you're strategizing around that, it becomes a lot less overwhelming. So maybe for a salesperson, I will say, well, make sure that you make 3 calls every day, 3 sales calls every day. And as long as you just be consistent, right? And so that's easy. Okay, I'm just going to make 3 calls every day. That's one easy thing to focus on, right? Or if you're trying to lose weight, then it's, well, log your calories and get some exercise. 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day, instead of being overwhelmed by, should I do paleo? Should I do, keto? Look, just log what you're eating and get out there moving every day. Oh, that's easy, right?
Yeah, don't overthink it, but just keep it
simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
So
and then do it. So somebody asked the other day when I did a talk like this, what do you mean by actualize? What do you mean by execute? And I said, well, what it says, say what you're going to do, and then do what you say you're going to do. That's it.
Oh, fantastic. That's so important. Again, that's very simple, to hear or listen to, but there's a lot involved, say what you do and do what you say. And yeah, that's definitely something useful. Thank you for tuning in. As always, follow the podcast, rate the podcast, leave a review from your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and across socials at YP Kumar. That's VAIP like Paul, KUMAR. Until next time with yet another interesting guest and yet another interesting topic, it's me, Vi, saying so long.